Hello and welcome to News Central TV. I am Adebola Adeduba. The headlines. Governors in joyous mood as Supreme Court rejects challengers' cases. Sources say ex-Sierra Leone president indicted in the country's alleged coup attempt arrives in Nigeria on medical visa. Chad's new prime minister promises election will be held on time. And details shortly. Nigeria's Supreme Court has affirmed the victories of 5 state governors, dismissing appeals seeking to remove them from office. The Apex Court, while dismissing the appeals for lack of merit, held that the various appellants to the suit were unable to prove their cases of overvoting and non-compliance with the nation's electoral laws. Marvelous Oboman was at the Supreme Court and now reports.
Have you ever wondered what victory tastes like and the resounding echoes that it brings with it? These are party faithful, celebrating the recent Supreme Court judgment affirming the election victories of the governors of Kebbi, Gombe, Delta, Ogun, and Nasarawa states of Nigeria. What this means is that unsatisfied candidates and their parties who have challenged the election outcomes from the lower court up to the Supreme Court can now sheath their swords, as the judgment is binding on all. The Apex Court held that the appellants were unable to prove their case of overvoting and non-compliance with the nation's electoral laws and lacked merit.
We started the battle from the tribunal, and God gave us victory at the tribunal. God gave us victory at the Court of Appeal. And ultimately, thankfully, today, the Supreme Court has confirmed the judgment of the tribunal and confirmed the judgment of the Court of Appeal.
This victory actually is not for me. The victory is for democracy. The victory is for the good people of Nasarawa State. And by the grace of God, this is a victory that we can carry on to continue with the good work of Mr. President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, our party, and it's a victory for mankind.
This victory means that we have reached the final bus stop with regards to the issue of election of the 2023 elections. And with no other place to go to, I call on all the appellants, because there were 2, and their parties, to join with us and work for the people of Gombe State.
Kebbi State doesn't belong to only ABC members, it's for all of us. We are calling for all and sundry in Kebbi State to join hands with the government of Comrade Nasir Arongondu so that we can move the nation forward.
I also want to thank my brother, Honorable Isa Ashuru, for approaching the court to ventilate his grievances. For me, that is democracy way. But having concluded today, I believe it is a high time for us to join hands together to work together for the progress of Kaduna State.
The legal contentions surrounding the election victories of governors of Ogun, Kebbi, Delta, and Nasarawa states have now been put to rest by the nation's Apex Court. It is expected that the governors who had already started functioning in office can now concentrate and get to work and deliver governance to its people. It will also be beneficial for the governors in their respective states to reach out to opposition candidates, build bridges for the good of all. In Abuja for News Central, Marvelous Oboman.
In southern Nigeria, Delta State Governor Sheriff Oborowori says he was confronted with 38 cases and won all during and after governorship election. He said these are the interdenominational Thanksgiving service held at the government chapel, Asaba, to mark a Supreme Court victory. Austin Azu completes this report.
Governor Oborowori, who arrived the Asaba airport after the Supreme Court verdict, was received by political bigwigs and various support groups of the PDP in the state. The governor thereafter made his way to the State House, where he appreciated God for his victory. In his remarks, Governor Oborowori recounted how he was confronted with dozens of cases and won all. He extended the olive branch to other political parties in the state to join hands to move the state forward and promised that he will continue to run all-inclusive government. He observed that he will remain a servant leader that will focus on the people first with a small agenda. Governor Oborowori, who also spoke to newsmen shortly after the Thanksgiving, commended the judiciary for remaining the last hope of the common man.
So this case, making it 38 cases, the highest in this country, pre-election matters and all the tribunal cases. There's no governor, even the one that have done 8 years, that they have 38 cases. And I won all the cases.
Meanwhile, the Inter-Party Advisory Council Delta State Chapter, in collaboration with CUPP and leaders of non-indigenes in the states, have congratulated the governor on his victory at the Apex Court.
This victory, indeed, is a testimony and a confirmation that Deltans really voted for Sheriff Oborowori, who emerged under the platform of the People Democratic Party.
Similarly, some residents also have message for the governor.
Advise the winners to accept the responsibility of taking care of the state and try to perform better than the previous government.
In every contest, there is a winner. Whoever emerges as governor should be celebrated and should be supported to perform very well as far as the governance of Delta State is concerned.
Now that the Supreme Court has put to rest all litigations regarding the 2023 governorship election, there might not be any reason for the governor to fail in delivering the leadership for which the people voted for him. In Asaba for News Central, I'm Austin Azu.
In the meantime, the candidate of the APC in the Delta State governorship election, Ovie Omoagege, has urged citizens of the state and his supporters to accept and abide by the judgment of the Supreme Court as the final court of the land. In a statement personally signed by Senator Omoagege, the man who petitioned the Apex Court over the Delta governorship election urged citizens to promote peace everywhere in the state. He extended gratitude to President Bola Tinubu, National Chairman of the APC, Abdullahi Ganduje, for giving him the platform and others who supported his quest and worked with him during the process of seeking to become the governor of Delta State. In congratulating Governor Oborowori, Senator Omoagege admitted that it has been a long-drawn struggle, which is about the collective interest and good of the people. He wished him well and prayed for wisdom for the governor to serve the people of the state. In Nigeria's northeast, residents of Borno State are heading to the polls on Saturday to cast their votes in the local government elections. Now, despite the low-key campaigns, people have traveled to their localities, including those at the border towns, as part of steps to exercise their democratic rights as electoral umpire distributed both sensitive and non-sensitive materials across the state. Umaru Kirawa reports.
This is the situation at the Borno State Independent Electoral Commission in Maiduguri, the state capital, as electoral officers move out with sensitive and non-sensitive materials for the conduct of the chairmanship and councillorship elections.
I receive everything. I receive sensitive and non-sensitive. I will be heading to Goza right away.
The distribution of the election materials started on Thursday and has been carried out successfully according to the leadership of the State Independent Electoral Commission.
We have distributed material yesterday, you can see, to 312 wards and 5,071 polling units in the state. But so far, so good. The security personnel are on ground. They have given us all the support.
Despite the limited campaign activities, residents of Borno State have been preparing for the elections in their own quota.
Our vote is our power. Our vote is our right. So we are going to choose a leader that is going to be very, very caring for his people.
Local government election in Borno State particularly is a welcome development and is going to be done, inshallah, successfully.
Tashambama Motor Park is among the busy area in Maiduguri, the Borno State capital, where people are gearing up to travel to their own localities to cast their ballot.
If we do not vote candidate of our choice, it will be a problem. That is why we mobilize our people. We are going out now, go and vote our candidates.
We made primary election, secondary election.
Residents have been discussing the issues that matter most to them and researching the candidates' backgrounds through various means, including social media.
Gwamnati da nam adal su da audo jama'a karzana madu ngawo da suta jama'ar karzana da ce tunda siyasa da a fi magadiro gansha tadin jamanan kadmaro.
Kamu mutanen Borno ban mayan abu guda biyu. In kaga a Borno abu ya zo guda biyu to baki ne sun dawo da shi bayan garin bane. By the grace of God 11 o'clock zamu gama zabe gobe insha Allah.
Barika fa Klewa Sulema insha Allah jaman da sama solo kuriya andiro kolzain.
Residents are hopeful that the chairmanship and councillorship elections will be conducted smoothly, expressing trust in the Borno State Independent Electoral Commission's ability to oversee a fair and transparent process. In Maiduguri for News Central, Umori Kirawa.
You're watching News Central now. Let's take a short break. Stay with us. Minister of Works David Umahi has commended President Bola Tinubu for appointing men of proven professional capacities and passion for service delivery to tackle the security challenges facing the country. Umahi said this during a closed-door meeting with his defense counterpart, Mohammed Abubakar, and Chief of Army Staff, Taurid Lagbaja, in his office at the Federal Ministry of Works. Speaking on behalf of the visiting team, the Chief of Army Staff said the essence of the meeting was to discuss with the Minister elements of the national power support to the military field operation with a focus on the role of infrastructural upgrade and the enhancement of military operations across Nigeria.
And we are glad that the Honorable Minister of Works is disposed to some of the suggestions that we have made on the need to focus on some critical roles that will impact positively on military operations across the country. And so the Minister of Works has made some promises and we look forward to seeing activities of contractors and other agents focus in this direction in the field, and the military will support them going forward. Overall, improved security is our objective and we'll continue to pursue that.
And I thank the public, who also have supported in different dimensions. Yes, we have discussed certain infrastructure as it concerns my ministry, to enhance their performances, and our minds are working together. The main focus of Mr. President when it comes to road infrastructure is the interstate routes. Very serious routes that are linked to security operations nationwide, the palliative jobs, the routes that are linked to industries and factories. And so this is one of the mandates that Mr. President has given to us. And so we are going to hasten this mandate and to ensure that the desire of Mr. President as far as road infrastructure is concerned will be achieved. Majorly, roads is everything. If you improve the roads, you will improve security, you will improve agriculture, you will improve education, you will improve commerce, you improve the happiness of people. People move from one point to the other. And this is what just Mr. President is doing. We've started to be in the field to repair over 320 palliative jobs.
And to talk about this, I've been joined live on the news by Ambassador Waman Roy, National Secretary, retired members of Nigeria Armed Forces. Good morning. Glad to have you join me.
Good morning. It's always a pleasure.
Now, what specific infrastructure needs does the military have in order to improve internal security?
Well, most of the time we talk about infrastructure, we usually limit it to purely physical, static infrastructure. But the military itself, if you talk about infrastructure, you'll be talking about physical hardware, you'll be talking about equipment, you'll be talking about gadgets, you'll be talking about deployment, and you'll be talking about housing units, and accessibility. I think for this meeting with the military chiefs, they were just directly talking about accessibility, roads, and networks. But for me, I believe that we need to focus on the whole gamut of necessary infrastructure.
But talking about focusing on infrastructure, how do you think the government can ensure that these infrastructure projects are completed on time and also within budget?
Everything in Nigeria now has been shrouded into corruption and abuse of office. So most times when people ask questions on how can government manage this or manage that, I just tell them, take a 5 years step backward and address all the abuse of office and the corruption practices. Let's take an example of the Badagry to Lagos Road, the Ibadan to Lagos Road, and all those Edo to Delta to the east and to the west. You will see that so many abuse of office have taken place and diversion of funds and misappropriation of funds and corruption. So if we need to look at government's speedy recovery of time and deliverable, we must address all of the abuse of office and corruption that have taken place.
Okay, aside, addressing the abuse of office, like you rightly mentioned, how do you think the government can ensure that these infrastructure projects benefit both local communities as well as the military?
Yes, for local communities, I have a very strong concern. Every time you build a barrack somewhere, the community gravitates towards it. And then before we know the whole area is developed, begin to wonder who approved that certain settlements be built up in certain areas. Because military operations are shrouded in so much of secrecy and decency of communication. And don't forget the Ikeja cantonment blast, where there was a bomb blast in Ikeja cantonment. And don't forget also, just recently, there are military barracks being attacked, okay? So we must build a kind of residential for the military families and operational outstation outpost for the combat units. If we have the residential for the families, then there's a lot of collaboration that will take place. Then anywhere that we have military outposts, there must be a constant rapport and understanding and meeting points with the community and the military outpost.
Ambassador Roy, what challenges or likely obstacles does the government face in addressing these infrastructural needs?
One of it is population growth. And, we must also deploy our military personnel to be closer to possible combat reasons. Like we have the Kaduna-Abuja Expressway, for an example. There is a lot of bushes, there's a lot of unpoliced areas that we can use to build up a strong outpost. Not the makeshift that we do, something that will be permanent, and if they address all of these outposts in cognizance with necessary deployment to combat any insurgency, it will help. And they must control the population growth of the citizens, the approvals for the citizens to get close to military outposts and infrastructure.
Okay, let's talk a bit about the private sector. What role do they play when it comes to addressing, infrastructure needs of the military?
There is a lot. There is a lot. If you look at some of our states in Nigeria now, private sector participation has usually and greatly helped. Like let's talk about contributions now, CSR, corporate social responsibility. Like some of the construction companies, there's a lot of CSR that can be given to the military. And if we talk about combat units, like we have companies in Nigeria here that produce military hardware. It would be good to relate closely with them and see where they can come in. And the government also must look at those organizations and corporate bodies and institutions, private owned, to give them some leverage in their operational ability, especially on taxes and some of the rebates they need for import of their parts and parties that they use to do their operations. So I think there's a lot of collaboration that must go on there.
And that's the most we can take on the news. Thank you so much for your company on the news. Ambassador Waman Roy, thank you once again.
Thank you. It's always a pleasure.
Well, the menace of kidnapping in Nigeria's capital, Abuja, now appearing to be a daily occurrence. About 3 people were allegedly abducted at the Nigeria Army Post Service Estate in the Kurudu area of the Federal Capital Territory. Now, while the military is yet to release any information on the incident, residents of the area say they are now living in fear over the rise in insecurity in the FCT in the light of the invasion of criminal elements on the military estate. Idong Joseph has details.
I am standing here at the Kurudu community in Abuja, and you can see behind me is the Kurudu Post Army Housing Estate, where it was reported that gunmen about 9 p.m. yesterday night invaded an extension of the estate, abducting 3 persons. Though we've gone into the estate to get a feel of the atmosphere, but met heavy military presence, which they denied us coverage of the scene. And so we have come out on the streets to get a reaction of residents within the area.
After every effort at getting residents in and around the estate to speak to us on camera, some of them confirmed that they had gunshots but refused to speak out of fear. However, we soon got a resident of the estate who later agreed to speak, but on the condition of anonymity.
It's not a small gun battle yesterday. It was a serious gun battle. So it's serious gun battle between those kidnappers and the soldiers, because the soldiers intervened immediately. That is why it was even not more, even though it would have been more.
A former commissioner of police who spoke to News Central called for a joint operational force between the FCT and its bordering states.
FCT and other contiguous states, that is Nasarawa, Niger, Kaduna, and if they should have to form a joint operational network where they can be collaborating together, secure their borders, and assist each other. I will also recommend that if the FCT chooses to establish a police security trust fund in FCT, because most of the major challenge the police is facing today is paucity of funds.
He also called for reform of the police in areas of welfare, provision of equipment, and provision of adequate manpower.
So population growth also is expanding, while the police man strength is depleting through retirement, through other things like debt and so forth. So I think the government need to increase the strength of the police, government need to fund the police, government need to ensure that the police are well paid and well catered for, their welfare is improved, and when you have a motivated police force, the perform better.
Though the goal of ensuring the safety of lives and property lies in the hands of the government, citizens also have been advised to support the police with relevant information. In Abuja, for News Central, I am Idong Joseph.
In the meantime, the government says it will provide more police stations at crime-prone areas within the Gwagwalada area council of Abuja. Now, this followed requests by stakeholders to the Minister of the Federal Capital Territory, Nyesom Wike, during a town hall meeting which appraised the state of the insecurity in the area with an aim of tackling the menace of kidnapping. Amadine Oyi tells us more.
It was the second stakeholder security meeting, but this time held at the Gwagwalada Area Council of Abuja. The meeting had in attendance stakeholders from the area, including members of the traditional council. The FCT Minister Nyesom Wike gave assurances, saying he is committed to tackling the menace of kidnapping in the area.
If you don't say you be one of the people where they give information to these criminals, if you don't say you be one of the criminals too, your time don't reach. Your time don't do anything. Don't reach. Me and the security agencies, we will follow the Asote and not go near Gwagwalada again.
Stakeholders gave suggestions on immediate measures needed to be taken to reduce insecurity affecting citizens.
We have some undeveloped structures in Gwagwalada Area Council in which I, the executive chairman of Gwagwalada, will write to your office for approval, at least because this is the area most of the criminals will hide, and in the night they'll come out to do what they're not supposed to do. If you leave these structures uncompleted, I believe, and we all know that is the areas those criminals will hide and do a wonderful thing to us. We need more police division in Gwagwalada Area Council. We have only 2 police divisions in Gwagwalada Area Council. We have division in Zupa, we have division in Gwagwalada Area Council, Gwagwalada here. I don't know, we'll write to you, and I know if you write to you, at least order the Commissioner of Police to give us more police division in order for them to at least do a very wonderful work to us.
The minister promised that measures will be taken, including providing logistics and equipment to help tackle the menace of kidnapping.
The person where they represent CP, where they here, well, in the here. Now make you go tell CP, make him work out how we can provide 2 more police stations for Gwagwalada. Make you not do an saying a normal government job, but this one a quick we go do it. I know therefore say today bring 5, tonight they bring 5. This one a security matter. President don't give me power. Make I buy plenty motor, plenty. As I speak to her, before next week, every police station went there for the 6 area councils will give for them more vehicles. We also give for them other communication gadgets. What I will take to work to make sure say these people will not give them chance again.
He also urged residents of the area to support security operatives with intelligence information to help nip kidnapping and other vices in the bud. In Abuja for News Central, I am Amadine Oyi.
You're live with News Central TV. Let's take a short break. Stay with us. Thank you for staying tuned. The headquarters of the 6th Division, Nigeria Army, Port Harcourt, has uncovered 14 crude oil reservoirs containing about 3 million liters of stolen crude in Odagwa, Eche, in Eche local government area of Rivers State. The reservoir had 49 boilers used in refining stolen crude. General Officer Commanding 6th Division, Nigeria Army, Port Harcourt, Jamal Abdusalam, while conducting newsmen around the reservoirs located in the thick forest of Odagwa, Eche, said he wants Nigerians to know what is happening. Abdusalam adds that through credible intelligence, officers of the division were able to discover about 14 reservoirs that contained upward of about 200,000 liters of crude oil in the forest. And to talk about this further, I'm being joined live on the news by Engineer Biokpa Awara, former AAC governorship candidate for Rivers State. Good morning. Glad to have you join me.
Good morning, ma'am. Good morning, Nigerians.
All right. Now, as someone, from Rivers State, what have you seen firsthand regarding the problem of oil theft?
I'm not just from Rivers State. I'm from an oil-producing community called Kola that has about 4 flow stations. So I actually have come across several places that you can virtually see that oil bunkering or oil theft is being done. Because my community is not, we don't get to my community by road. We enter both from Abonima to Kola. So driving through the river, you virtually see the oil pollution everywhere.
Now, what factors have contributed to the growth of oil thefts in Niger Delta region? I mean, including if it's poverty, environmental degradation, or even corruption?
First is the marginalization of the people. The people have been so marginalized that they feel that this is what is within our area and we are not benefiting from it. If you travel to Abuja, travel to Lagos and see the development there, go to Port Harcourt to see the development there, you come to your village that is producing this oil, there is nothing. People tend to go into this. Another is poverty. Poverty is increasing. Even as I speak, the inflation is going higher, so poverty is also increasing. People tend to feed their families. Unemployment, people who graduate from universities, different institutions, training centers, and they will look for another means of livelihood. And that is a problem. Another major one is corruption and bad governance. Our choices of who leads this oil industry is also a key. So when you see people that do not put interest in why they are being engaged as ministers or one thing or the other to monitor critically these facilities, you see these places, these oil facilities being open for people to go into this kind of theft that we have. And to be sincere, military is another major problem. Thank God today, at least military have discovered and have shown the people what is happening. But military is another major problem that has contributed to oil theft. You see in a place.
Yes.
Hello? What did you say?
Yes, Engineer Awara, I was going to ask you, I mean, how has oil theft, led to the violence and also instability in the region? What are the larger or broader implications for the country we're looking at when it comes to national security?
Okay, so these people that go into oil bunkering do not just go into it, they equip themselves with arms. I'm from a place where people, when they are equipped with arms, the citizens, the indigenous can't even talk. So it has caused violence in a way that these people carry arms around. They cause piracy. When they are hungry, when the oil wells that they go to steal this crude is not available, they cause harm, they steal, they do all sorts of criminalities. And if you look at it, the environment is highly polluted, highly. For my master's degree, I studied, I went through that cemetery that the GOC went to. Was one of my primary places that I visited. And I saw how the place was devastated. When you plant, you can't get any seed because the land is polluted, the air is polluted, even the water level, the water that the people drink is also polluted. So it's economically, it has also drained the country. Because these people steal more than what we even publish as a country. We talk about 1.4 million barrels, but what is being stolen each day, if they will go through to get all that they are doing, it will be more than 2 million barrels that is being stolen each day. I think I'm from the Niger Delta. I'm from a community within the Calabar area where we see all these things happening. Funny thing, and most painful, the military are stationed around these facilities.
All right, thank you so much for your time on the news. Engineer Biokpa Awara, former AAC governorship candidate for Rivers State. Thank you once again.
Thank you. Welcome.
News Central now continues in West Africa, where sources say Sierra Leone's former president, Ernest Bai Koroma, charged for his alleged role in what authorities called an attempted coup, left the country and arrived in Nigeria on Friday. On Wednesday, Koroma received permission from judicial authorities to spend a maximum of 3 months in Nigeria for medical treatment. President Julius Maada Bio called the court decision a humanitarian gesture during an address to the nation on Thursday. Koroma landed in Abuja on Friday afternoon, welcomed by the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, and the President of the ECOWAS Commission, Umaru Aliyu Tuare. Earlier, Koroma's advisors said the former head of state boarded a Nigerian Air Force plane without specifying the flight's destination. In Central Africa, Chad's new Prime Minister, Success Masra, has presented his political program to a parliament made up of MPs appointed by the military regime. Among other promises, the former opposition leader vowed to make the timely organization of elections the guiding principle of government action. Subject to a vote of confidence, Masra won 95.4% of the votes from the 173 deputies of the National Transactional Council. The 40-year-old economist returned from exile in November after reaching an agreement with the junta guaranteeing him from free exercise of political activities.
Respect du calendrier conduisant à l'organisation des élections dans les délais. En synergie donc avec la future Agence nationale de gestion des élections, nous ferons de la tenue des élections dans les délais impartis la boussole de l'action gouvernementale. Il s'agit de l'élection présidentielle, des élections législatives et sénatoriales, des élections communales et provinciales. Rapatriement des œuvres d'art du Tchad et des archives coloniales se trouvant à l'étranger aussi, parce que les archives d'un pays, c'est sa mémoire, c'est son âme. Il s'agit de nos milliers d'œuvres d'art qui se trouvent aujourd'hui en France. Nous allons les rapatrier. Commencer à les rapatrier. Échanger pour les rapatrier. Mais aussi dans les collections privées, ainsi que le rapatriement et la numérisation et l'archivage, y compris électronique, pour certains de nos archives coloniales qui
Thousands of anti-abortion advocates gathered in Washington, D.C. for the annual March for Life, the second since the Supreme Court overturned the federal abortion protections. Attendees who convened on the National Mall on a cold, snowy Friday said with Roe Wade overturned, they are now looking to states to pass abortion bans. At least 14 Republican majority states have banned the procedure with little to no expectations, and 7 others have limited access. Many of the group's young adults screamed abortion is murder as they made their way past the U.S. Capitol and Supreme Court buildings and up to Capitol Hill.
No matter what, we're here to help. We're here for the babies. We're here to save souls and save lives.
Therefore, I want to tell everyone marching today that your work matters. It was because of people like you that allowed someone like me to choose life for my unborn twins. And there are so many people like me who need people like you to be there to give them hope and a pathway forward when they're experiencing an unplanned pregnancy. So I want to say thank you. Your work matters and we need you.
With uncommon courage,
We must do justice, not only by protecting innocent preborn life, but by correcting injustice and rebuilding opportunities so that mothers and fathers can flourish. With deep compassion, we must love kindness by offering a continuum of care that provides lasting resources and support.
To come to. Instead of running away from fear or complacency, run towards it. Use that energy as the will to fight for the.
Following a black man's permanent rectal injuries, a French court on Friday sentenced 3 police officers to suspended jail terms in an uncommon instance of police violence. Theo Luhuka was left disabled after suffering severe anal injuries from a police baton, as well as wounds to his head during a stop and search in the Paris suburb of Aulnay-sous-Bois in 2017. After more than 9 hours of deliberation, 35-year-old Marc Antoine, who was found guilty of the trenchant blow that injured Luhunka, received a 12-month suspension and prison sentence. He's also banned from carrying a weapon and working on the street as a police officer for 5 years.
Nous prenons comme une victoire parce qu'elle vient dire une fois encore que Théo était victime ce jour-là, que rien ne justifiait qu'il ait été battu et que rien ne justifie chez lui qu'il soit autrement considéré que comme une victime. Donc, une décision d'apaisement, une décision de vérité est pour nous une victoire.
Mais très clairement, la première impression de notre client, c'est l'immense soulagement que...
And now to sports stories. President of the Nigeria Football Federation, Ibrahim Gusau, hopes the victory of the Super Eagles over Côte d'Ivoire will mark the beginning of future success for the team. Addressing the team after the win, Gusau conveyed the gratitude of the Nigerian people to the team and charged them to do more in their quest for a 4th African title. The Super Eagles are currently in the 2nd place in Group A, behind surprise leaders Equatorial Guinea. The team needs at least a draw with Guinea-Bissau in their final group game on Monday to seal their place in the 2nd round.
I believe it's the opening of successes to come by the grace of God. Because playing with the host country and getting the result at that very critical moment is very, very important for this kind of tournament. Yesterday, the government even declared public holiday just for that match. At the opening match, even at the president.
This further, I'm being joined live on the news by news centrist Favor Itwa, all the way from Côte d'Ivoire. Good morning from here, Favor. Glad to have you join me.
Yeah, good morning. Good to, of course, join you on the bulletin this morning.
All right. How do you think the Super Eagles are preparing for their final Group A match, or are they still celebrating their win over Côte d'Ivoire?
All right, for the Super Eagles of Nigeria, they've gone past the time of celebrating their win against Ivory Coast. They are now focused towards getting a win against Guinea-Bissau. Yesterday was their recovery training session, which of course had every player involved except but one, of course, Alassane Yusuf, who trained by himself. He was just running around, walking through the field, trying to also recover from the injury he had in the first game, compared to other players who were part of the major training. Talking about also, Kelechi and Acho was also part of it, but of course for the boys, it was about, preparation, it was about perfecting their strategy. Don't forget, they don't have a lot of time to prepare for the next game, so they have to take every minute as it comes. Yeah, it was open to the media till the end of the training, as we saw ball walks from different players. The players were separated into two, which had the players who played the second game against Côte d'Ivoire pushed to one side, the substitute pushed to another side. The substitute had more work to do. Of course, that's because Joseph Pesero is thought that they needed to have more and more time with the ball than the players who played 90 minutes in that particular game. And we also saw at a point in time the players were given, in football we call it a beep. That's to differentiate Team A versus Team B. And I think Joseph Pesero is also trying to see which of the formations can actually work against Guinea-Bissau. Now, Guinea-Bissau, looking at the table and what have you, they are not mathematically out. So if they get to win against Super Eagles of Nigeria, they stand a chance of qualifying to the next round. So you know how much of importance this game is against the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Guinea-Bissau, of course, have played Nigeria before now in Cameroon, in Garoua, in the last Nations Cup. Nigeria won them 2-1. Before now, they've also met in series of friendly matches. So, you know, this is going to be like a team that both sides, of course, know very well, and of course for Super Eagles of Nigeria. So wait to see what happens. But there are some sections of reports we are getting from the camp that maybe we'll have a changed squad that will take on Guinea-Bissau. That's to say, because of course, not to underrate the team, but of course to give players who might be looking for an opportunity to get more game time, talking about Kelechi Iheanacho, amongst others, Tere Murphy, the opportunity to play. So it was a good recovery session for the Super Eagles yesterday, and they're looking forward to another training session later today.
Yes, Faith, I was going to also ask you about Kelechi Iheanacho, if you have any update regarding their injury status, as well as, Al Hassan Yusuf. What's the update regarding them so far? Have they been in training?
Yeah, for Kelechi Iheanacho, he has been training with the team. He made the first match this squad. He made the second match this squad. He's fully fit. I mean, we could see that when he was told to go and jog in the game against Cote d'Ivoire. Yes, he didn't come into the game, but he has shown consistency in his recovery rate in the last few days. Talking about Kelechi Iheanacho. For Al Hassan Yusuf, I did say he did not train with the team, but he trained alone by himself as he looks forward to come back, from injury. So he may likely not be able to start the next game against Guinea-Bissau, but we'll wait to find out later today, because of course as the day progresses, he gets to have more time to heal and more time to, of course, come into the team. He's not going to be rushed into the team, and that's, of course, the usual routine which we always have, whereby as players come back from injury, they gradually take them to the gym. From the gym work, they train by themselves before being integrated into the team. So these are many that will, of course, witness yesterday, which was, of course, on Friday. So for the team's camp, I think there's no cause for alarm for the injury worries, just except one player, Al Hassan Yusuf, and they're ready to go.
Well, we're looking forward to Nigeria winning Guinea-Bissau in their final group game match on Monday. Thank you so much, Favor Itwa in Abidjan, Côte d'Ivoire.
Thank you very much for having me.
And that's all on the news at this hour. But before we go, let's take a look again at some of the major stories. Governors in joyous mood as Supreme Court rejected challenges cases. Sources say ex-Sierra Leone president indicted in the country's alleged coup attempt has arrived in Nigeria on medical visit. And finally, we told you that Chad's new prime minister has promised elections will be held on time. Send your eyewitness report to the WhatsApp number on the screen and follow us on social media. We are at News Central TV. You can watch us live on DSTV, channel 422, Star Times, channel 274, Avo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Adebola Adeduba.